Imagine seeing through your own skin for the very first time. Not with surgery, not with mirrors, just a strange glow in a dark laboratory, and suddenly bones. Your bones. Visible. Moving. Alive beneath the surface. It sounds like something out of science fiction, doesn't it? But in 1895, a German physicist stumbled onto this exact discovery completely by accident. He wasn't looking for it. He had no idea it was even possible. And within weeks, his discovery would send shockwaves through the entire medical world and change the way we understand the human body forever. It's November 8, 1895. Würzburg, Germany. Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen is alone in his laboratory, working late into the evening. He's a meticulous scientist, the kind who keeps detailed notes on everything and doesn't leave experiments half-finished. Tonight, he's experimenting with something called cathode rays, invisible beams of electrons that travel through specially designed glass tubes when electricity passes through them. To study these rays more carefully, Röntgen has covered his cathode ray tube in thick black cardboard. The room is pitch dark. He's made sure no light can escape the tube. He flips the switch. The tube hums to life. And then, across the room, something starts to glow. A small screen coated in a fluorescent material, sitting on a bench several feet away, is lighting up, glowing, flickering with a strange, greenish light. Röntgen freezes. That screen shouldn't be reacting. Cathode rays can't travel more than a few inches through air, and definitely not through thick cardboard. Something else is happening. Something completely unknown. Röntgen does what any good scientist would do. He runs the experiment again, and again, and again. Every single time the screen glows, he moves it farther away, still glowing. He places objects between the tube and the screen, books, wood, metal sheets. Most materials don't stop it. The glow continues. Then he does something that will become one of the most iconic moments in the history of science. He places his hand between the tube and the screen, and he sees it, his bones, the shadow of his skeleton, projected onto that glowing screen, with the faint outline of his flesh around it. For the first time in human history, someone is looking inside their own body without cutting it open. Röntgen is stunned, fascinated, and more than a little terrified. He has no idea what this invisible energy is. He doesn't know where it's coming from, or what it might do. So he does what any scientist does when they discover something completely new. He names it X, the mathematical symbol for the unknown, X-rays. Over the next several weeks, Röntgen locks himself in his laboratory. He barely sleeps. He tells almost no one what he's working on, not even his closest colleagues. He needs to understand this phenomenon. He needs proof. He discovers that X-rays can pass through soft tissue but are absorbed by denser materials like bone and metal. He takes dozens of images, testing different objects, different exposures, different distances. And then, on December 22, 1895, he creates the image that will change everything. He asks his wife, Anna Bertha, to place her hand on a photographic plate. He directs the X-rays through her hand for several minutes. When he develops the plate, the result is breathtaking and slightly eerie. There, captured in black and white, is the skeleton of her hand. Every bone clearly visible. And on one finger, her wedding ring, glowing brightly because the X-rays couldn't pass through the metal. Anna Bertha reportedly looked at the image and said, "I have seen my death." But Röntgen saw something else entirely. He saw the future of medicine. On December 28, 1895, less than 2 months after the discovery, Röntgen published his findings in a paper titled On a New Kind of Rays. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Within days, newspapers around the world were running stories about the miracle rays that could see through flesh. Within weeks, doctors were attempting to use X-rays to locate bullets in wounded soldiers, find broken bones, and diagnose internal injuries. By early 1896, just months after Röntgen's discovery, X-ray machines were being built and used in hospitals across Europe and America. Think about that for a second. From accidental discovery to worldwide medical revolution in less than a year. No lengthy approval process. No decades of testing. Just raw, undeniable proof that this technology could save lives. And it spread like wildfire. Of course, the early days were messy. People didn't yet understand the dangers of radiation exposure. Some of the first X-ray operators suffered burns, hair loss, and worse. It took years to develop proper safety protocols, but the potential was undeniable. And Röntgen himself never tried to patent the technology. He believed it belonged to humanity. In 1901, he became the very first person ever to receive the Nobel Prize in Physics. Here's what I find most fascinating about this story. Wilhelm Röntgen wasn't trying to revolutionize medicine. He wasn't trying to see through skin, or diagnose broken bones, or change the world. He was just doing what scientists do. Running experiments, asking questions, paying attention to things that didn't quite make sense. And when something unexpected happened, he didn't ignore it. He didn't dismiss it as a fluke or a mistake. He stopped. He investigated. He stayed curious. That's the thread that connects so many great discoveries. Penicillin, the microwave, post-it notes, Teflon, vulcanized rubber. None of them were planned. They were accidents noticed by people who refused to look away. So the next time you're at the dentist, or getting an X-ray at the hospital, take a moment to appreciate the strange, beautiful chain of events that made it possible. A dark laboratory, a glowing screen, a scientist who couldn't explain what he was seeing, but knew it mattered. Sometimes the most important discoveries aren't the ones we go looking for. They're the ones that find us when we're paying attention. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got plenty more accidental genius coming your way. See you in the next one.